welcome to episode 64. This week on the show, a new show coming to Hollywood studios, Guardians of the Galaxy construction news, a new dessert party rumored for Walt Disney World, a resort test program going away, the latest lawsuit against Disney, a Disney animation studio closing down, and the latest from Walt Disney Imagineering. I also walk through the new Toy Story Land and share my experience with you. And we are joined by One Little Spark team members Seymour and Marisa as we talk about movies, all before taking a ride on the Great Movie Ride. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Dreamport. One Little Spark Podcast.
Hooray for Hollywood, that screwy belly hooey Hollywood, where any office boy or young mechanic can be a panic with just a good-looking pen. And any barmaid can be a star maid if she dances with or without a fan. Hooray for Hollywood, where you're terrific if you're even good. And anyone at all from Shirley Temple to Amy Semple is equally understood. Go out and try your luck, you might be Donald Duck. Hooray for Hollywood. Within a half an hour, you might be Tyrone Poe. Hooray for Hollywood. Hooray for Hollywood.
Oh, hello there.
Do you want to connect with our show?
Find us online at onelittlesparkpodcast.com.
Hello.
And on social media by searching for One Little Spark Podcast.
Welcome to the show that brings you the latest Disney news, rumors, and opinions, immersive in-park audio, ride-throughs and happenings, and interviews, attraction histories, and fun top 10 lists. Your one stop for all things Disney. One Little Spark Podcast. And now your hosts, Rich and Joey.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Rich here, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Joey. Joey.
Am I muted?
Yes.
I think I muted myself.
All right, let's do that again.
No, I like it. Let's leave it in.
All right, fine. You and your...
It's real, man. That's what the people want.
Well, Joey, this is a very special episode. Do you know why?
4th of July?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no.
Exactly.
What?
No. I mean, that's a special thing because, you know, our country, America and stuff. But our two newest One Little Spark podcast team members are joining us live this week. So,
Yay.
with that being said, welcome to the show, Seymour and Marisa.
Yay, me.
Hello.
Hey.
You're like, hi.
Well, hello there.
So, Joey, I'll start with you. How has your last week or two been?
Good. It's been a good
Okay,
couple of
well,
weeks.
good, well,
I've
good.
been
Oh.
getting into the summer swing of things.
So, heat.
Pretty much.
You're
Yeah.
like, I have AC, which is a good thing. It's good.
It's very good.
Ha-
It's very good.
How have you guys been? Start with Seymour.
I've been well, thank you. Just been trying to stay out of trouble as best I can, but it always seems to find me in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. I know. That's why I just lay low. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I work on the show, and that's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, that I try to do stuff like that too, but yeah, I go into the parks and it just somehow or other, I always find my way into some sort of, however innocent.
Yeah, you're like, I went to
yeah.
the park and I had a fast pass, and then I was in Disney, Joe. I don't know what happened.
Yep. So,
How have you been, Marissa?
I've been good. I've been working a lot, so that's pretty much been all I've been doing lately.
Story of my life.
Yeah,
I'm like, let's see what we're going to do today with my 4 hours of free time.
right. I'm like, oh, laundry and
Have
eat.
to sleep in there some point. Yeah. Maybe power nap.
Maybe, if there's time.
I had a decent last week. I did go to a party at work for retirement for some of our mail carriers. That was pretty fun. And then I got to check out Toy Story Land. So, it was decent.
That's it. It was decent.
Okay, let me take a step back first. We've talked about this many times on the show that whenever we first had the reveal at D23, I'm pretty sure we knew before then about Toy Story Land being added to Disney's Hollywood Studios. But when I first heard about it, I was like, that's it? Like, they're just adding Toy Story and not Pixar, and with the Toy Story, they're just adding like a little spinning ride and a little kids roller coaster, and that's it. And it seemed underwhelming from the get-go. So I came into this already with low expectations. So I did record my experience live, which I'll play here in a little bit. But overall, to sum it up real quick, I think that it was underwhelming. I know a lot of people are like, oh my god, it was amazing, the best thing ever, things I was reading online. But that's just me personally, because I always expect so much more from Disney, and I hate being let down by them a lot. Not a lot, I mean, here and there, but, here and there I do get let down. And I'd say that it's a clear sign that their budget was cut with this land. I was looking at the Blue Sky artwork that they released, and there's some stuff on the art that's clearly not even in the land. There's like trees there in real life, and it's really small. It's like the size of Storybook Circus. But not the worst. I would say for what it was good for what it was, but I wish there was so much more to it. Real quick, and I know this will be on later on the recording, but Slinky Dog was better than I expected, like a lot more fun than I thought. And I didn't ride the ass ride, the alien swirling saucers, because I looked at it from the side. It was an hour wait, and it just really looked like a step up from Teacups, barely. And I'm like, it's skippable. But I'm sure later on it'll be like a walk-on, because the thing that they did here that was a lot smarter was they have three of them instead of like one of the Teacups. There's three of these things, all like next to each other. I did have a lot of the food too, which I posted on social media recently, and that was, I guess, comparable, as you could say, to most of the other quick service around the parks. I still like Satuli Canteen the best, basically.
Yeah, I saw your pictures in the group page. So if anybody wants to go check out the pictures of the food, those I thought were really interesting, because I hadn't actually, I've seen all the pictures that you had shared of the sort of the area and what you can see there, but I hadn't seen anybody post really any pictures of food. I guess I could have gone to the Disney food blog and seen it, but tell us a little bit about, you could probably walk us through it in your overview while you're there, but tell us some of your impressions of the food. I'd like to know more about that.
Okay, so what I had was, and I actually just thought they had like dessert stuff and like cheese because of what it was. When I first saw some pictures, I thought it was like a grilled cheese sandwich, and I'm like, that's gross. I mean, not that grilled cheese is gross, but the last thing I want to do in the hot Florida sun is have something hot like that. Something that is disappointing with the land overall is no shade. So when I did go up to get the food, there's like little umbrellas and the sun is still hitting you from the side. So the eating experience wasn't the best. There was not too many places to sit for one. But yeah, so I go up. The line wasn't even that long. I was surprised. But one thing I do want to point out, because I don't remember if I said it in the recording, the efficiency was excellent from the cast members. They had so many on hand. They had a lot of them that were in good moods and surprisingly, happy spirits. The quick service had two leaders standing right there in case anything went wrong. They were there to help out. A lot of the cast members inside were experienced from other places around the park or on property, so they already kind of knew what to expect from fast-paced service, and they did a great job. I even told the girl, like, hey, great job, congratulations, and she was really friendly and happy. So I ended up ordering, I forget exactly what it's called. It was basically a barbecue sandwich. It was pretty good. It had like a pasta salad side, and I ordered what's called tachos, which is what you could probably get at a Sonic. It was like some Fritos, some chili, and some cheese, sour cream, onions, and
They look like tater tots.
yeah, and tater tots in there, and it was pretty good, but it was like $9. So
wow.
I also got the alcoholic drink. It was called like adult something.
The adult Long Island iced tea.
It wasn't Long Island, but it was okay. They didn't short.
Welcome to Andy's backyard.
Yeah.
Here's an alcoholic beverage.
where he stole his parents' drink.
Yeah, welcome to Andy's bar room.
What were those pastry-looking things that you got?
Okay, they were like a step up from a Pop-Tart, and they really were kind of disappointing because they're dry as something that you'd probably get at the art festival. Not the best, but it made me like really thirsty. I threw away like most of it because it was just the crust, and then I ate the middle part and then threw the rest away. It had like bacon on one of them, so it kind of but it wasn't a good balance like at the art festival or Food and Wine. It was just like, oh, there's a nice pastry and then bacon, which I love bacon, but it just didn't go. So I would say the food was good for quick service. Desserts, not so much. They also have a separate bunch of menu items for breakfast, which I didn't obviously get to try. So overall, not the worst. Definitely better places in that theme park to go eat. That's something that, as much as I bash Hollywood Studios, they have a lot of great places to eat there. So skip Toy Story Land if you're starving. One thing, another positive before I forget, is they weren't playing You Got a Friend in Me over and over and over. It wasn't even played, I don't think. I noticed that. I'm like, wow, I haven't even heard it once. So other than that,
That's funny.
It's not bad. I don't know. They did send me an email survey, and they're like, what did you like? And I was like, the roller coaster. And then you had to like rate these things 1 to 5 and how you felt about the food and the cast members, the rides, and the overall experience. And I told them my thoughts.
I'm trying to picture the land from the pictures, in a hurricane.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed because there's no shelter at all.
That would not be good. Well, I mean, they're not going to let you in, right? If there's a hurricane anyway, they're going to shut the park down. I just think it's interesting with the, the Christmas light, bulbs that they have stringing across the park, and whether or not I'm sure they took that into consideration. It may even be something that they might take down if they know they've got something like that coming. I'm just picturing them swaying pretty wildly in the wind and could possibly get blown down, but I'm sure they considered all that stuff when they built it.
That's one thing that Disney always has nailed down is the prep work for storms like that. I mean, think, after you go in there after a storm, it's like as if nothing happened to the park. Meanwhile, the rest of like Orlando is trashed. Like roofs are gone, but you go to Disney and they're like, oh, there's some leaves. They're always good to go. So that's pretty much been my week. We have a lot to get to in the news. So let's get to that right after this.
Hello, everyone. This is Kelly from Epic Disney Escape, and this week I am actually interviewing my father. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Kelly.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. If you haven't listened to the last two segments, I've interviewed my mom and my aunt, and now I'm interviewing my dad because we have a big Disney background in our family. So I'm going to be asking him the same exact questions that I asked my mom and my aunt. So, Dad, what is your first Disney memory?
The first memory I have has to do with Mary Poppins the movie that came out in 1964. We had moved within a few miles of Disneyland in 62, and I think that's around the time that we first started visiting the park. And so Mary Poppins really became my first actual memory of the Disney industry.
Who did you go with?
I don't know. You just asked what my first memory was. You didn't ask who I didn't have time to write that down.
So memorable, wasn't it? So, great. Mary Poppins, I mean, that was a huge movie back then and a huge part of Disneyland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I heard a quote once from Walt Disney saying that Mary Poppins would always be a part of Disneyland, that they would never take her out. And she's there to this day.
She is.
My next question is, when did you work at Disneyland?
Well, I actually was hired on my 15th birthday. In 1970, I was hired into Fantasy on Parade, which was their Christmas parade, and I was hired as a dancing penguin in the Mary Poppins unit.
Awesome.
Imagine that. And it was so exciting because it was like this massive cattle call, and there were hundreds, if not thousands of people there, and you got shuttled in based on your height because you had to fit their costumes, not their costumes fit you. And that's how they picked people to audition for different parts.
Now, what did you do throughout your career at Disneyland?
I was always in the entertainment industry. Did parades for them for many years. Then I transitioned into character in the park, which the primary one that I ended up doing was Winnie the Pooh.
Now, there was other characters that you did too. Like, we have a picture of you being Mad Hatter.
Yes.
Yes, so that's like a cherished picture for us because at the time, you could see your face.
Which was really unusual.
Yes, because before that, he had to wear a mask.
Right. You
Yes.
were under this big, massive, rubberized head, and your only interaction with people were movements that you could do within the costume.
So throughout your Disney career, what was the most epic moment that you had?
The very first electrical parade. Back in 1972, I had been working with them doing seasonal parades for 2 years. And one, I'm going to say around the April-May time frame, they just started calling people that had danced or did things within the parades, asking if we would be interested in being involved in a special project that they were putting together and trialing out for that summer, and they were going to call it the Electrical Parade. We had no idea what it was. They didn't even have their own costumes. They acquired them from the old Disney on Ice. All the lit costumes, the floats, and the special effects kept arriving all summer long. You'd come in one night to do the parade, and all of a sudden there'd be a whole new, like the canopy for the Cinderella unit showed up a month into the parade. It was just really exciting. You had no idea what to expect. They had some interesting moments, like one night we're getting ready for the parade, and one of the Cinderella costumes caught on fire while they were getting us into those costumes, and they had to chase the girl through the back area and tackle her to rip her out of the costume. So that particular night, the Cinderella unit did not go out, and by the next night they had built fuses into all of those power packs that we wore on our butt side. They sat on top of our butts and the costumes were over the top.
Great. And what was the character that you played in that parade?
I was one of the Cinderella dancers.
Nice. Well, thanks for talking to me, Dad.
My pleasure.
So if you're looking for more epic experiences or epic magic, check out Epic Disney Escape on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for listening.
And now, the latest news.
Extra, extra!
This week in the news, Pixar is further infiltrating Disney's Hollywood studios because beginning in early 2019, there's going to be another exciting reason to get revved up about a visit to Disney's Hollywood studios. Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, a high-octane first-of-its-kind new show, will put you right in the middle of the world of Disney Pixar's Cars. Located near Rock and Roller Coaster, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy brings guests face-to-face with racing legend Lightning McQueen. With a little bit of help from his friends Mater and Cruz Ramirez, McQueen will show some of his moves that he's learned over the years with guests to help inspire the next generation of rookie racers. Though this is Lightning McQueen, so guests should expect a few twists and turns along the way with his new experience. That's kind of random. They're like, you know where Cars belongs? Near Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah. So yeah, let's revamp Lights Motors Action and put it on the other side of the park.
Yeah. I saw this and I'm like, okay, that's a thing now. So I don't know. Do you think that'll be permanent?
I don't think so. I think they're scrambling to try and make Hollywood studios viable again because I'm sure they're getting lots of...
We need people on that side of the park.
Yeah. They're having to do what they can with what space they have. I wish they'd just take a beat and make it right, or not make it at all, but
right.
They're going to do whatever they can. And a lot of things are pretty impermanent at the parks. There's a lot of times where they install a meet and greet or put in some kind of, attraction that's just sort of, it looks like they phoned it in and sure enough it is because it's going to be temporary. But, it'd be great if they, you were talking about, it's Toy Story, it's not Pixar. We know that there's been rumors of a Monsters, Inc. overlay for Rock and Roller Coaster. It's possible that,
This is step 2.
It's going to be challenging with Tower of Terror how they're going to implement any kind of Pixar element to that, especially since they, in California they put in the Guardians stuff, right? But it's possible that Future World might be going Marvel and Hollywood Studios might be going
Pixar.
More Pixar and Star Wars, which is kind of a crazy hodgepodge, But who knows? Who knows, Rich? I mean, I guess we'll find out summer of 2019 when we have the next D23, at least the next US D23, because I know they announced a few things at the Japanese D23 recently.
That would be good. Okay, that would be acceptable if that's what they're doing. They have a Toy Story Land now, a Cars show next, and then they're like, by the way, we're also getting rid of the Little Mermaid show that was supposed to only be there for 2 years. And we're getting rid of this other garbage in between, and we're going to add a Monsters, Inc. roller coaster to replace Rock and Roller Coaster, and we're going to add this other little thing over here for something else that's Pixar. That would be cool, and I would be like, yes, do it. And then Tower of Terror really would be out of place at that point.
Right. But, I mean, what they could have done is they could have taken a page out of their own book and brought something similar to the Cars ride out in Disneyland and put it in over here. I mean, because that's basically what they did with the Toy Story Land is they took it from Japan and brought it here on a obviously much smaller scale. But what they, and again, I mean, this is, just me behind a microphone, but maybe, put a little bit more, ride in, people, they like to see shows and all. There's only so many shows, like with Cars, it doesn't really have, personally, I mean, it's got, the nostalgia for like the whole Pixar part of it, but with them having the Pixar branch of the Art of Animation Hotel, it's something that's probably going to stick around for a little while, and maybe a Cars ride as opposed to a show. To me personally, I think that may be a little bit better fit, maybe, and tuck it back behind Toy Story Land, behind where the backlot tour used to be.
There's a lot they can do. What do you think, Marissa?
I think that they're trying to scramble to find things that little kids can go enjoy while everyone else is in Star Wars. And I think a show would eat enough people where kids can go sit and watch it and it won't crowd Star Wars Land as much.
Well, I was going to say, though, is what's weird is you have to be 38 inches to get onto Slinky Dog. And I don't remember if there was a specific height requirement for the spinning ride. So it's kind of weird that they didn't make a little bit more, because there's specifically a space in Toy Story Land. They could have at least made a little playground similar to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids playground. But in Toy Story Land, there really isn't much for toddler-age kids that can't get onto the rides. Because it's like, if they can even get on the spinning ride, that's the only one. And they can get on Midway Mania, but, you know, any baby or whatever can't really participate really with that ride. So, you're right. A show that entertains everyone would be a nice people eater, considering Hollywood Studios is a few shows and a couple rides, and that's it. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is going to be a nightmare with crowds all the time, not even just at the opening of it.
Yeah, that's going to be a formidable player for many years to come.
Yeah, so leaving Hollywood Studios and heading over to Epcot, the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster is well under construction, thankfully. I'm so excited about it. But there's a gigantic show building going up right behind the Universe of Energy as we speak. Not much construction has been seen on the actual energy building until now. The iconic mirrored tiles that adorned the walls of the Universe of Energy since 1982 have started to be removed. Photos of the building have surfaced online as work continues. So I don't know if you guys have seen the new photos that have just surfaced recently, but a lot of people are probably going to be complaining on Twitter as usual about their nostalgic Epcot being gutted and yada yada. Okay, so when I first heard about the Guardians ride going in, I was kind of disappointed because it didn't fit. It doesn't fit to me. But the more I think about it, there's a lot that they can make it work with. You're not going to really learn anymore. So there's not really edutainment anymore at Epcot, and I think they're just giving up on that. They're just like, no, it's fine. We'll just theme it around energy and move on. So I'm excited about the attraction. What do you guys think about the attraction coming in, Joey?
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, I like you, same thing. I was a little disappointed that they were going to put a movie IP in Future World, but the last movie that, you know, the last Guardians film, there was this theme with these batteries, and I thought, well, hey, you know, there's probably a play there somewhere where they can, you know, put that in play somehow with, you know, the attraction and some kind of galactic battery. I don't know. But now I'm just like, they just want to make roller coasters because they want to take some business away from Universal and from Busch Gardens and wherever else they can draw in, you know, a different demographic of folks to come to Disney World, because they're losing that. You know, once kids hit 13, they're pretty much begging their parents to take them to Universal or somewhere else. So I think they're just trying to capitalize on all that and bring them back to the different places. Like, you know, Epcot is one of those places that's losing kids of that age range because they don't really have a lot to really hold their attention there. So that's what I think.
The thing that I think also is they cut the budget on Toy Story Land to dump a ton into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And after that's done, I don't think they're touching much of Hollywood Studios because they're going to fully focus on Epcot. I mean, we already have Ratatouille coming in. There's talks of a ride for Mary Poppins going into the UK pavilion, a new Brazil pavilion being added to World Showcase. The Space Restaurant is now under construction, and we have this giant ride, and it is huge. There's been tons of photos that have been posted online of the vantage points from all over the park, and you can see it almost everywhere. And that's awesome, I think, because if they're going to be dumping a lot into this one ride at least, it's going to be amazing. And I'm hearing rumors about the coaster not just being just a coaster, like how Rock and Roller Coaster is kind of just a coaster inside a building. It's going to be where you kind of stop and see a scene or something happening, and you go to a next section and it's fun, and then, you know, something stops and happens there too. And just the
kind of like Green Gots.
I was saying, reminds me of another roller coaster here in Orlando.
Yeah, but I think this is going to blow everything out of the water, so I'm excited for it. It sucks that we have a couple more years, though.
Yeah.
A couple of years of us getting to talk about it.
I know. And they're gonna release little things here and there. So, Marissa, are you a Guardians of the Galaxy fan?
Oh, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. That's my favorite Marvel movie.
Okay, good, because I was about to say bye.
That's it. I was excited from the get-go when they announced it, and I know a lot of people were really upset, but I was one of the few people who was just like, yes, Guardians, more Guardians.
And they're like, but my Epcot.
Yeah, I was like, I don't care.
When's the first time you went to Epcot?
I was 8, so like 2003.
Okay, so you weren't really there much before of what we kind of currently have now, though. Besides,
Right.
like Mission Space or Soarin' is new, right, for you?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't really have the nostalgia for the old Epcot, right?
Right, so I think that definitely changes things, and I do like the edutainment, but it's just not holding people's attention. So it makes sense that they're moving away from it.
Yeah, if you take away the clear aspect of making money, because this will make them money, if you take that out of it, I think they have skewed their goals for Epcot. They're like, listen, you're right, but there are a lot of those people that went to Communicore and Innoventions and saw those conventions that they used to have back in the day, and that molded who they are today. But I don't really know if that's a thing anymore, because yeah, there are experiences like that who mold people later on down the line, but I think that for the most part, people want to just go and experience things and have fun and escape and not really go, because they can watch YouTube for a lot of that stuff nowadays. Oh, you want to learn how to do 3D printing? Well, there's 1,000 videos right now on how to do it, and you don't have to specifically go to Epcot to learn that. But back in the day, that was probably the only place you can go and learn this and that about certain things. You're right, and a lot of people are going to be like, no, rebuild Horizons and rebuild this and that, but they're not going to do that. Yeah, well, that was fun. So something else to help boost a little bit of sales, obviously, with Disney, and some visitors to the Rivers of Light is currently being rumored that Disney's planning a new dessert party with preferred viewing of the Rivers of Light show at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and beginning in early August, which is in a few weeks. The party will have a 9:15 p.m. seating and include small bites, desserts, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages like the ones over at the Frozen Ever After show and the Star Wars dessert party. And as of now, the event would be priced at $79 for adults and $45 for kids. So, yeah. Have you seen the Rivers of Light show, Marissa?
Yes.
Okay. What did you think about it the first time you saw it?
It was a little underwhelming, if I'm being honest. I saw it, I did a dinner package, so I actually had the preferred seating, and it seemed like the regular Fast Pass seating was a little bit better, and the show was cool, it was really good, and I've heard that seeing it multiple times helps you understand the story better and you appreciate it more. So I don't know if it's just one of those things, but I did see it the night after I'd seen the Star Wars fireworks, and those really impressed me, so might have been a little bit of that too, but I wasn't as impressed as I thought I was going to be.
Ooh, I just realized something. Rivers of Light would really benefit from, like, TIE fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Or drones.
Drones, yeah.
Underwater, maybe?
See, the thing is about drones is they were actually supposed to be in that show, and then Disney's like, budgets. And actually, that show ran way over budget because they were trying to perfect certain things. Here's the thing. I waited 3 hours to see Rivers of Light on the first night, and that was after being, like, pumped about it, and I went and bought, like, a pin and a shirt and my daughter's shirt, and I'm like, yeah, this is going to be great. They're promoting all this nighttime stuff here and, getting ready for Pandora to open. And then I saw it, and I'm like, I just bought a shirt and a couple pins and all this stuff for a mediocre at best show. So
thank you for paying for Rivers of Light, Rich.
And here was the ambiance. Yeah, I know. That's why, as Jim Hill says, that's why they're selling all that stuff. But the ambiance leaving that show, everyone was just kind of quiet, walking out, like, okay, well, that happened. Instead of like, wow, what an amazing show. Like people crying at Happily Ever After. They're like, Rivers of Light. They're like, all right, well, Magic Kingdom's still open. Let's go watch a real show.
So this begs the question, for $79, how much alcohol do you want to have prior to the show to make it worth the money you spent and the time it will take to sit out there on those cold, hard seats enjoying the show from preferred seating?
I think it would take just about $79 worth of alcohol to do that. Yeah.
Well, that's the positive part about the Epcot one is you turn the corner and there's, from entering, and there's like 2 tables of a ton of food. And you're like, sweet, sweet. All right, where's the drinks? And they're like, oh, just around the corner with the 2-finger point. And then you go around the corner and there's like 3 tables of pre-filled like Long Islands and all these mixed drinks, and there's a bartender and it's open bar, and you're like, well worth it.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, and you could take as many as you want. I was surprised by that, actually. Is this worth it to me? No, because most likely it's going to be food similar to the subpar at best snacks at the Magic Kingdom show dessert party that I did. And it was like going to the local grocery store and you're like, you have $20 to buy some pastries. Go ahead. And that's like the quality that you got. Epcot, on the other hand, had great stuff. And they had like pretzels with the different cheeses and mustards and all that, and meats and chocolate-covered fruits. And I'm like, wow, this is definitely quality compared. So I'm wondering what the stuff will be like being offered at this show.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to see Jingle Bell, Jingle Jam over at Hollywood Studios this past winter. Well, quote unquote winter, but I do have to say that the selection of the snacks and the beverage sounds similar to what they have at Epcot, because they put on quite the little spread for that one, I have to say. And it was the same day. It was open bar, and they get pretzels. They had little finger sandwiches, desserts as far as the eye could see. They had 2 bars, and they had the couple gallon, pre-mixed type of drinks there. But you could also get beer, wine, and select, cocktails and stuff like that. And to get 100% open bar, along with obviously your, sodas and coffees and water and stuff. But that was quite the little spread. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that. Like you said, with the Magic Kingdom one, they kind of phoned that one in.
Which is surprising because the show itself is great, and then you're like, oh,
right,
I'll have a lemon tart. Gross. In
right.
a water.
And a water.
So do you guys have any pets?
I do. I have a black and white long hair cat. Yeah.
What about one that you'd What about one that you'd want to bring to your resort when you visit property?
Take my dog.
Well, Marissa, I have some bad news for you.
Yeah.
A few months ago, we reported that pets would be allowed at select resorts on Walt Disney World property as part of a pilot program. A lot of people online were basically either extremely happy or extremely upset about this. But it appears that come October 15th of this year, this will revert back to guests not being allowed to bring pets into their rooms on property. So I wonder what happened where they're like, okay, yeah, it wasn't worth it. Maybe there was some incidences or just too many dogs having accidents. I don't know.
It's got to be accidents and dogs barking all night, and then people with allergies trying to be in those rooms. And
what about this? They're like, we have breakfast at Magic Kingdom at 7 a.m. And then they're like, but we're also going to be in the park the entire day and then go to extra magic hours at night and leave our dog for 19 hours.
Yeah.
Which you're not allowed to do by, the rules, I think, were 7 hours was the max. But,
Right.
They had all these rules. I think the problem was people just weren't following them. And then they were making excuses like they weren't reading them or something. But, yeah, I don't know who would take their pet to Disney World and leave it in the hotel anyway. I mean, if you care enough to travel with your dog, put it in a in a pet hotel or a kennel, somewhere where they're going to run it, they're going to feed it, they're going to give it water, they're going to care for it. It's going to have other animals to play with. It's going to have people who are trained to watch after these animals. I mean, Disney has these types of facilities on property, so you can take your pet there. You're just, the whole idea of leaving your pet in your hotel room, I think it probably backfired on them in a lot of different ways that we're never going to know about. But it sounds nice in theory, but you know what? I'm not going to spend any time in my room when I'm there. I mean, and even if I do, it's going to be on those off-park days, and I'm probably going to be at a water park or Disney Springs or somewhere else anyway, right? I'm not even going to be hanging out in my room with my dog.
What about the fact that you could be like the lady at Epcot and bring a poodle or a monkey into the park? It's fine.
If I had a monkey.
You know where we're going today, Bubbles? We're going to the Epcot Center.
Oh, man. I don't know what's funnier is if you're taking your monkey to the Epcot Center or the fact that you called it Bubbles.
Oh.
But no, in all seriousness, though, I've been to the kennel on site at Disney. It's right over by Port Orleans, and I've been over there for a couple dog meetup, I guess you could call it. And the facility is very well run. It's very clean. They do a fantastic job over there. They even have rooms where the dog gets its own TV, its own bed. It's basically like its own suite where it can go in and out, like into like the outside part of the kennel. And it's even got CCTV where they will give you the like password or whatever, where you can check up on your dog while you're in the parks. So there's really no need, like you guys said, to just leave your dog in the room. If you're going to go on vacation, or even if it's just a couple day trip, if you're a local, the kennel right there on site, take it from me for what it's worth, but it's actually really, really nice for, if you don't want to leave your dog alone, all day or for a couple days. It's right there on site. You don't have to worry about it because, again, there's rooms where you can actually see your dog on a webcam on your phone. So, there's really no need to leave your dog in a hotel room or even at home, and have to worry about, other people, maybe coming to take care of it, where these people, if you have certain dietary restrictions, certain times that you need the dog to be fed for whatever reason, they will cater to you because, I mean, that's what they do. And, you don't have to worry about it. It's right there, and your pet doesn't have to worry. You don't have to worry. Everything's all nice and neat and taken care of.
Well, I guess then that's probably the reason why. They're like, well, money can be made instead.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
So here's some weird news. Disney and Pixar have been hit with a lawsuit by a Canadian man that says that the hit film, Inside Out, infringes on his copyright for a work bearing the same title, among numerous other similarities. The suit, filed in federal court in California by Damon Porgian on Monday, says that Porgian wrote a script called Inside Out in 1999 as part of a script writing class, doubt it, and that the script was turned into a short film the following year. According to the suit, the school where the work was created, Sheridan College, has sent large numbers of its graduates to work at Disney and Pixar and is considered a feeder school for Disney and Pixar. When Mr. Porgian saw Disney Pixar's Inside Out, he noticed striking similarities between his work and that of Disney Pixar. The suit reads, Mr. Porgian later learned of many connections between his alma mater, Sheridan College, and both Disney and Pixar, including a number of students who were in Sheridan College at the time his short film was shown, and went on to work for Disney Pixar's Inside Out. The suit states that Porgian's script and film each tell the story of the reactions of the boy named Louis to events in his everyday life, illustrated through anthropomorphized representations of the bodily organs that influence and react to his actions, as seen from inside of Louis's body. Inside Out shows Louis's outside world as well as an interior world in which his organs react to the outside world and with each other. The first internal character we see is the personification of Lewis's brain, who operates in a command center using a complicated control desk within Lewis's body to command Lewis's interactions with the outside world. Lewis's internal characters, brain, heart, colon, stomach, and bladder, communicate with and squabble with each other. Each has distinct personality and influences Lewis's actions in various ways. According to the suit, Porgian isn't the only one who noticed the similarities between his short film and the animated hit. The suit goes on to list numerous striking similarities between the two works. Even the titles of the two works are identical, stating concretely the theme of both works, the outside world of the protagonist, and how the world is connected to the normally unseen inside world. The suit reads, both works depict the details of their protagonist's inner worlds experiencing the outer worlds, and both do so by representing the driving forces of their protagonist's behavior and anthropomorphized internal characters who are reacting to and interacting with the world outside. What do you think about that? Because I think I remember hearing something about that in the past year, and this might be the same guy.
When you look at any body of work that's either in music or movies, anybody can say that, you know, that they've had an idea similar to this or that they've had on paper or on film or on audio that, you know, bears striking resemblance. I mean, it's all in interpretation, really. This guy, Inside Out, dealing with, you know, like you said, brain and this and any other thing. Whereas in the Disney Pixar, it's full. It's just fully based on emotion. You know, I mean, could it have something to do with it? Possibly. Do I personally think, after what little I have read over the article, not really. Again, I mean, there's just so many different factors that can play into something like this that anybody can claim rights to anything that's out there. I think it's just somebody who had this title, had a similar work, is looking for, you know, a payday because Disney's got deep pockets, and that's the way he's going to go with it. So.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it like it was also produced by the guy that made Cranium Command at Epcot? So the same guy had something similar already back in the early 90s. So
I'm sure there's some backstory to the whole thing, and I'm very confident that the Disney lawyers have access to volumes of data that's going to back up their claim. So best of luck to Mr. What's his name? Carpagian? Kevorkian.
Kevorkian.
Yeah. Mr. Kardashian, good luck to you, and live long and prosper.
Right.
Oh, wait.
Right.
Yeah.
Wrong everything. Probably the guy will get paid to shut up, and that's it. So some sad news, in my opinion, is that Disney Toon Studios, Disney's animation studio that created direct-to-video movies and the occasional theatrical release, is now closed. Located in Glendale, California, and originally known as Disney Movie Toons, Disney Toon Studios produced 47 films since it was founded in 1990. The studio started with the theatrical release of DuckTales, the movie Treasure of the Lost Lamp, before moving to direct-to-video sequels of Disney movies, beginning with The Return of Jafar in 1994. Most recently, the studio was known for Planes, a spin-off of Cars, and the Disney Fairies series focusing on Tinkerbell, which I also read that they were supposed to have a final movie that would show where Tinkerbell meets Peter Pan, but that's now canceled. Since 2008, Meredith Roberts served as Senior Vice President and General Manager of Disney Toon Studios, which was under the umbrella of Walt Disney Animation Studios, led by Edwin Catmull and John Lasseter. Though it was recently announced that Peter Docter and Jennifer Lee are succeeding Lasseter as Chief Creative Officer at Disney and Pixar, the closure of Disney Toon Studios is reportedly unrelated. Right. According to IndieWire, 75 animators and staff will be laid off from Disney Toon, and it's unclear if they will be moved to new roles at Disney or Pixar. After much consideration, we have made the decision to end production actively and close Disney Toon Studios, said a Disney spokesperson. As a result of the closure, an untitled movie from Clay Hall, who helped create Planes, and Bob's, that's his first name, Ganaway, who did Planes, Fire, and Rescue, is no longer in development. It was previously scheduled for a theatrical release in March 2019. So I think that's kind of a bummer, but maybe they have bigger plans with Pixar in the Disney Animation Studio.
Well, maybe because Lasseter's, quote unquote, out of the way now. Disney might be able to get a little bit more creative control, or have a little bit more creative freedom with what Pixar actually does. That could possibly have something to do with it. That's one conspiracy theory anyway.
What do you think, Joey?
Yeah, I think they're trying to consolidate some things. I think I enjoyed the Planes movies, and the direct-to-DVD movies were sort of this opportunity to very low budget, a high potential earning, with the Peter Pan 2 and 113 Dalmatians and the Return of Ursula and whatever else they were making. I like the films as well. I think that they are just, like you said, consolidating. There's a serious situation going on within the leadership. I read an article this week about, it was one of these open letters from a woman who worked at Pixar for like 10 years and was consistently batted down and told to stay in her corner, and was, to some degree sexually harassed, and not just by Lasseter, but by other senior executives. So they're kind of cleaning house and doing a restructuring, reorganizing of the organization. And I think that it's not a bad thing. I don't know if the Disney Toons thing was such a bad thing to close down, but they're constantly changing and evolving that situation, and hopefully they've got plans, and this is part of something bigger that we just don't see yet.
Yeah. I have a confession. I was visiting my dad in another town, and my daughter was like, I want to watch TV. So we turned it on, and they were playing one of the Tinkerbell movies, and it was surprisingly really good. I'm like, oh, great, I'm going to watch this. And then I watched it. I'm like, that was actually really entertaining. So that's one weird confession. Then that's all you guys get. So, that was by that studio then. So it was pretty good. So it's kind of a bummer that all those animators have to be let go. But, hopefully they'll pick up some jobs somewhere close to there. So last story this week is Disney has released a video. This was awesome. Of a new technology they're working on called Stunttronics. These new robotic figures developed by Walt Disney Imagineers perform extreme aerial maneuvers 60 feet in the air, making real-time decisions for when to tuck, turn, and stick the perfect landing. From what I saw in the video, it looks amazing. If you guys want to go check it out, look up the Disney Parks social media account. They had them like flipping in the air. It looked basically like people. So that I think they have perfected how these machines are making those decisions on when to do certain things to make it look and act realistic. But basically they said they're trying to make them more humanized. So kind of creepy. You'll see like Tinkerbell launching out of the castle instead of a person instead. So
very Westworldy like.
It's kind of crazy because we do talk about these things that Disney's developing behind the scenes, and they do give us a little bit. Like a couple months ago we talked about the vest you wear to make some of the attractions more interactive, where you'd feel things like grabbing you or being thrown at you or something. And seeing stuff like this, it's just crazy, all the technology that they come out with.
I'm just picturing the John Lasseter experience.
Wear this vest, little girl.
Sorry, Marissa, I can't help it.
You want a part in my movie? Wear this vest.
I'm a little disgusted by the whole thing, too, but I'm excited about the opportunities for wearable devices that feel like I'm part of the adventure.
You're being hugged at the Christmas party a little bit too much. Have another shot. Let's go talk about artwork in my office.
That, man, wow.
I know. We're making light of a guy that was a little rapey, but he's on permanent leave now. I guess he's a consultant still, so there's that.
Yeah, until the end of the year. Can we just take a sidebar here really quick and talk about the fact that, when I was a kid growing up, I wanted to be a Disney animator and I wanted to be a filmmaker. This is kind of like really at the core of things I'm passionate about. And when I saw Toy Story, right? When I saw Tin Toy, right? Even the very early stuff, I was pretty excited about it. And when I saw Lasseter's passion for animation and his creativity manifest in such a bold new way that we hadn't seen in a long time, right? Not since the last Disney Renaissance in the 90s with Little Mermaid and the Jeffrey Katzenberg days. It was exciting to see. And Cars 1 was so good, and I kind of feel like I'm kind of losing a hero. I'm kind of losing somebody that I really looked up to for a long time, and it's I don't know, it shouldn't be affecting me the way it does. I don't know the guy personally, but in a way, I always kind of felt like there was, in another time, if things had been a little bit different, had I gone to Cal Arts and actually pursued animation, I might have been working beside the man. I might have been actually an employee of Pixar, and I just don't know how to process all that stuff, and it's kind of sad. I'm glad that the truth is coming out. I think it's abhorrent what he and Harvey Weinstein and these other studio executives have done in Hollywood to take advantage of their power and to abuse people who don't deserve the situations that they were put in. And I know I make light of it, and I apologize to anybody if I've offended them for making fun of this whole situation. But I'm really upset about it, and so I think that I'm glad that they're making changes. I'm sad to see him go. I think he is a creative genius that is had potential for so many more things that he could have done with the next 30 years of his life as a creative, and I think he still will. But I think, like Tiger Woods, right? He's just not going to be swinging for the green anymore. He's probably going to still work in animation, but probably for a lesser known studio, probably in some kind of back office capacity where his true genius is never really fully going to be seen. And I'm glad that there's other people like Pete Docter and other people that are in the industry that are going to continue to make amazing films and do incredible things to push this industry forward. But I'm a little heartbroken over the whole thing. And
yeah,
so that's it.
We have a mutual friend who I don't want to name because I don't know if he wanted to talk about this, but he met him and he was a great, warm, welcoming guy, and he felt betrayed after hearing about all this stuff, just like you're saying. And also, every time I go to Epcot and I have some downtime, I do see the Pixar Film Festival attraction next to Journey into Imagination, and in a lot of the intros, you see his name in all these movies, producer, and this and that. And you see his name, and it just reminds you of him. And you see him in all these interviews on creating this and working on that. And now it's kind of just awkward now. You're like, oh, there's the guy that did all these things that were in the allegations, and yikes.
Yeah, and then you boil it right down to one of the original interview stories / movies where it all started, where you got on the John Lasseter train. It's just the Pixar story. I mean, I just watched that about 2 or 3 weekends ago, and I've seen it at least 5 or 6 times. But I mean, you watch something like that and you're like, these guys, obviously John Lasseter being at the top of that mountain, you just watch that and you're like, these guys are real guys. They go out and they're beyond, like you guys said, beyond, creative genius. And then this, it just blows everything apart, and you don't want to believe it, but it's just hard to know, that fine line between, what's real and what isn't. But I mean, there's just so many things out there that, but even though it's John Lasseter, and you just you don't want to believe it, it's still there now. So it's just that black mark, and now he's got to, like you said, step down and just kind of fade away into the darkness.
Yeah, it's hard because it almost feels like when you see his name on all those movies, it almost feels like it's tarnished because you can't help but think of all the things he's done. And it's really sad because so many other amazing people worked on those movies, and so many amazing, talented people have poured their heart and soul into these films, and there's always going to be that, like you said, that black spot sitting there where it's like, oh, but John Lasseter also worked on this. And it's a shame. But, I mean, it's also a shame for everyone else involved who was harassed by him, and that's, I mean, sad beyond words. But it's a tricky situation. I think they're handling it pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, especially think we have Toy Story Land, Pixar Pier. We have all these things coming still, and they're not phased. So, and of course, it does take a massive team to produce these amazing movies that, of course, Pixar always does. So I think that moving forward, they're going to do fine. It'll just take a little bit of time. Just how Subway, eventually they're good now. They're like, we don't know any Jared. And then they move on. And then they're good now. They're just like, we moved on. So anyway, enough of that negative stuff. You guys want to talk about some movies?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, now that we just got done talking about movies, let's talk about movies.
Let's talk about more movies.
So that's kind of what this episode is mainly about. So we'll get to that right after this.
Hey kid, you looking to have a good cleanup? Gentlemen, you need a good beard trim? Dames, you want your hair beautified? Whether it's your first haircut or your 100th, the barbers at Harmony Barbershop on Main Street, USA will entertain you well, making sure you look amazing. You may even be treated to musical talents of the Dapper Dans, Disney's very own barbershop quartet, and there's a special My First Haircut package for children that includes a commemorative Mickey ears and certificate. Come on down to the Harmony Barbershop in Town Square today, only at the Magic Kingdom.
All right, I'm here at Disney's Hollywood Studios with my friend
Mala.
And she is with me here to check out Toy Story Land. Just opened here recently, and this is the first time I'm checking it out. Now, as you guys know, I'm pretty pessimistic about the new land because it seemed underwhelming whenever they presented all the information. And to me, I personally think that it would have had a bigger impact if they took the whole back half of the park and did a Pixar land. Instead, it had a ton of attractions, and there was even the rumors of redoing Rock and Roller Coaster to be a Monsters, Inc. roller coaster. So if they would have went all the way down to the end, I think that would have been cool. So before going into the land, which we are going to go in here in a little bit, what was your impressions when you very first heard about the land?
I was not excited because I really wanted more Pixar stuff.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It's not that I don't like Toy Story, but I was sitting there thinking like that's it. And then whenever I saw the concept, because they had the model here, we're actually standing in One Man's Dream or whatever it's called now, but they had a model, and I'm just looking into the land and thinking like, okay, they have a spinning ride and a kids roller coaster, and then Midway Mania, which is okay, but that's it. And that's what I thought. I'm like, that seems underwhelming. Maybe they're going to expand later. And then I was thinking like, oh, they're not really, because the only expansion I heard about was expanding Star Wars later. So I'm on the same page. So anyhow, we do have a fast pass miraculously for Slinky Dog's coaster, which is something I don't want to wait 4 hours for. So that's pretty exciting. And at the moment, we're in One Man's Dream, like I mentioned, so we're going to do something else I haven't done, which is meet Baby Groot. You met him before, right?
Absolutely.
I know. I saw all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and they are so good, and that's an attraction that I am definitely excited for. It's going to be incredible for all the technology I heard that's going into that ride. It's supposed to break all sorts of records and things like that. So anyway, we'll talk about that later on down the road, closer to when that's opening here in a few years. So we're going to go meet Baby Groot, and I'll get back with you guys here in a second.
Did you take Rocket's tail or something?
I had to.
Fair enough. All right, come on over. Just be cautious when you show that to Groot. Groot? He took Rocket's tail.
I had to.
Sorry, buddy. Rocket loaned it to him. He's gonna give it back. Yeah, he promises. I promise.
All right, we are walking up to Toy Story Land for the very first time. It's really hot out today. I think it's because it rained earlier. They actually have a line to take a picture by the sign.
Yeah, they do, and it's crazy.
Yeah, so. Okay, so this is the very first time coming in here. Now, I know I was kind of negative about this this land because I thought they could have done so much more with all of Pixar, like we were talking about a little bit ago. And right ahead of us, we're looking at the Slinky Dog coaster track. It looks like they're not even running it.
It doesn't look like it's running, but it looks fun.
Yeah.
It is
And
running.
I will be on this here in about an hour from now. Okay, that's funny. The Toy Story Midway Mania has like the same time as normal. Maybe people are like, well, I've already been on that, so.
Yeah, I mean, most people have if they've been here before.
Okay. So,
I like the new entrance.
besides the massive amounts of crowds, what's your first impression walking in?
It's colorful.
It is. I mean, so to paint the picture, if you guys haven't seen any photos or videos or anything like that, we're walking into what's themed to be Andy's backyard, and they have these like Christmas lights set up on, what are those called, like connects? Rector set, some type things, whatever they're called. And the lights are obviously there to light the land. And I heard it's like really nice at nighttime.
I saw pictures. It was really pretty.
We walked in and took a left. That's like the only direction to go. And you see Toy Story Midway Mania's new entrance. It does look really nice. Better than before where you just walk through like a glass door and then you're in the queue.
Yeah, I liked the entrance this way.
So walking straight ahead now, we have a giant Pixar ball on the left. And, I don't know.
Base training underway. Over.
To the left, further up, it looks like that's where Andy's lunchbox is. And the line's not even long. There's only like 10 people in line.
There's not very many things to choose from.
Yeah, there's like a few menu items. I'm looking at the lady holding the menu over here. There's only, I could see it from here, there's 6 items on the menu. Hey, can we take a look at the menu? Thank you. So, to look at the menu here, they actually have non-dessert stuff here. Okay, so I'll read it off here. They have a barbecue brisket melt, which sounds kind of good. They have grilled 3-cheese sandwich, a Monte Cristo, a smoked turkey sandwich, tachos, which sounds good, and then Baby Bells, obviously, because they're the sponsor. And then they have a dessert, which is a lunchbox tart, which is raspberry and chocolate hazelnut, or chocolate hazelnut with candied bacon. And
I think the soldiers are going to come out.
Oh, okay, yeah. You guys can hear the music, it just got louder. It looks like the soldiers are coming through. Yeah, they're holding Pixar balls and posing with people in the street. Other than that, they have normal soda, a couple different drinks, one called a Mystic Portal Punch, which is the Mountain Berry Blast that's like in every fountain drink place here, mixed with lemon lime and tangerine. And then they have everything else is the same. They have alcoholic
Grown-up lemonade.
Yeah, it's called Grown Ups Lemonade with 3 olives, cherry vodka, lemonade, and black cherry puree. So that sounds kind of good. And they have Angry Orchard, Blue Moon, and Bud Light. So it looks like they're clearing the path. We have the Army men marching. They're holding crayons and hula hoops and things that looks like they might be interacting with the guests here in a little bit. You want to go get some food, or do you want to check that out later?
Food.
Okay, we're gonna go get some food.
What is the?
Let's try to find the entrance.
It's on the outside left side.
Oh,
sorry.
okay. Try to find the entrance around here. It's not as bad as I thought, but it is kind of crowded still.
It's definitely probably not as bad as it was yesterday.
Okay. So continuing forward, the entrance is still on the left, but you have to kind of go around. There's a bunch of tables. To the right, there's a path to go down to the entrance to Slinky Dog. And then past that path on the right is Alien Swirling Saucers, or as everyone's calling it online, is ass. And then that's pretty much it for the whole land, actually. That's the whole land, I think, right?
It's pretty small for all the hype they brought up.
Yeah, because actually, to continue forward, they have those fake trees, which looks like eventually that will lead you into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then going back down the path to Slinky Dog, that's all there is there. So, okay. I like how they have, right here by the snack area, they have straws sticking up, like massive straws. I don't know why, they should have done like a playground
They should have.
for little kids in this land as well.
It would have been perfect.
But there's not. And actually, you have to be 38 inches to even get on Slinky Dog. So you bring your kids here and you're like, oh, Toy Story Land, you could only ride one thing. Good times. All right, the line actually isn't that long. I think this was like an hour-long wait yesterday for these things. So we're gonna order some food and we'll be back in a second. We are in line to ride Slinky Dog, and we're actually in the Fast Pass line, so I hope it doesn't shut down. There's
that
some
would suck.
dark clouds here. Oh, nope, it's not shut down. Okay, so while we were eating, we met a YouTuber who was here just kind of filming random stuff. And she was saying that she would argue that this ride is better than Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Big Thunder Mountain. So I'm going to see whether that is something that's true. Because I'm watching it now. It does look kind of fun, actually. I can hear, you hear the sound of the Slinky as it goes by.
I didn't hear it.
Oh. I guess I only heard it whenever it went down there. So, yeah, the girl was saying that this is better than Seven Dwarfs, and whenever she said Thunder Mountain, I was like, no.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll be blown away, so who knows. All right, so we are in line, and it looks like even the Fast Pass is kind of slow. They only have so many going at the same time. You did?
I heard the Slinky this time, yeah.
Okay, yeah, they have a couple going at the same time. So it looks like they're pretty efficient on loading. I don't know what the riders per hour is, but the line at the moment is 115 minutes, which isn't too bad considering it's brand new. So, okay. And it looks like we're kind of close to the load area, so I will pause the audio and we'll be right back with the ride-through. Alright, I'm about to get on Slinky Dog. It looks like I'm in row 3. I hear that the front is better, towards the front of the coaster is better than the back. So we'll see in a second. There's a lot of clouds coming in and they're like, we could close at any second. I'm like, oh my god, no. So even though I had a Fast Pass, still I don't want to not be able to ride it today, so we just have one more coaster to go. Ours is coming up now.
I might be a classic, but I still got a spring in my step. Let's go. right. So long, pal.
Okay. That was actually really good. Better than I thought. I would say better than Seven Dwarfs, actually.
I don't particularly think Seven Dwarfs is that fantastic.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is they...
Toys of all ages. A strong weather front is now approaching Disney's Hollywood Studios. If the weather conditions worsen, we may have to close Slinky Dog Dash without
That's
warning.
fun. So these people waiting 200 minutes or whatever might have to leave the line. So yeah,
And it's not a covered line.
No, they're all outside, except for like the last few minutes of waiting. So, Seven Dwarfs what is technologically great. This one is actually pretty fun. The launches are fun. Better than I thought, definitely. Definitely better than I thought. Amazing? No. Would I wait more than like 20, 30 minutes? Probably not.
No.
But it was fun. I think it was good. It was good for what it was. You only have to be 38 inches to get on this. On this trip, I'm going to skip the ass ride, alien swirling saucers, because it's like a step up from teacups. And
that's what I thought it was, just a step up from teacups.
Yeah, and a teacups is pretty much a walk-on if you go at night anyway. So I'm good. And I'm going to definitely skip Midway Mania because I don't need an upper body workout, a forearm workout. So anyway, we're leaving the land. What did you think overall after all that anticipation?
I am sort of let down a little bit. I thought they could have done more.
I think so too. I think, again, I don't think it should have just been Toy Story. This could have been a portion of a massive Pixar land. And who knows? I mean, if you actually look to the trees when you first enter, right behind there is a cast member parking garage. So they'd have to kind of get rid of some other facility buildings to be able to clear out the land all the way down. But I think they could do it. I don't know.
I think they can still add more, although Star Wars land is probably taking up a lot.
Yes, and especially when they're talking about expanding that down the road eventually as well. So overall, I liked it. Underwhelmed a little bit because you're right. There's not too much. There's just 2 rides, well, 3 rides, but 2 new rides and a quick service, and that's it. Then they have the Army Patrol. What are they called now?
The
Army.
The Green Army men.
Yeah, well, they're not called men because people get offended.
Because there is a woman.
Yeah, they do have the women soldiers, but anyway, they come through here just how in the Star Wars,
the march.
Yeah, they march down like every 10 minutes. It feels like. They have the Army guys walking down here every few minutes as well. So. I guess it's cool. It's a good photo op. Now, did they still have the characters over on the other side for like Buzz and Woody and all them?
I don't know.
Or, I mean, Woody and Jesse?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that'd be something extra if they had that as well. So.
I didn't see a character meet and greet.
As far as first impressions of the land, for what it is, I think it's okay. They could have done a lot more. They could have definitely done like a whole Pixar thing like they did on the West Coast here. But Slinky Dog was fun. I probably will wait to ride it again unless I get a fast pass though.
I would definitely not wait hours and hours, like the 7-hour wait yesterday.
No. So. Anyway, that's it.
This week on the show, I thought it would be a great idea, Joey, to have our new team members join us, and I thought that we should talk about something that we all love, and that's movies. Now,
yay!
You're like, what a joyous conversation. We're going to talk about some recent releases and go through some titles rumored to be released all the way through 2022. So, let's get started. The first one on this list is Thor Ragnarok, which came out last year. You saw that, right, Joey?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did you like it?
I think Thor Ragnarok is what The Last Jedi should have been. And I should probably do an article on this, but go back and watch it and look at the similarities between the two movies. You'll be pretty blown away by it. But if they had taken the Thor Ragnarok script and don't get me wrong, I liked Last Jedi actually, but if they had made The Last Jedi
better,
basically a carbon copy of Thor Ragnarok, it would have been an amazing movie.
So this list is from IMDb, and they're pretty good on keeping up with current the productions and what's actually going on with films. So this was actually rated on IMDb as a 7.9 out of 10. So do you think that's kind of accurate?
Yeah, that seems more unbiased because I certainly like Thor Ragnarok a lot, but it's not a perfect movie, but it's very entertaining, and I would probably say 7.9 is very fair.
Okay.
For if you were to rate it on a general scale, being very unbiased.
So what I'm going to do is go from the furthest back, which is only last year, and I'm going to go through these titles and give you what the star rating is on IMDb, because funny enough, a few movies ahead of that, which is Star Wars The Last Jedi, got a 7.3. So it wasn't too far behind that, and actually it's kind of crazy. It's rated higher than Star Wars. So,
like I said, if they just made Last Jedi,
maybe Last Jedi would have a 7.9 instead. The next one on the list is Coco. That one got an 8.5.
Did you see Coco, Rich?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater, and I liked it. It was good.
How about the other guys? Did you see it, Marissa?
I still haven't seen it, actually. I just bought it a couple days ago, so it's on my list.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, right when we're done doing the show, you have a task to go watch it. It's actually really good. I liked it. It was really well done, and they did a good job. An overlay in Epcot? I don't think so. I think it's good with just the light theming they have inside the pavilion itself, and leave it at that, Disney. You're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's not go Frozen on it.
Oh, God.
Right. What'd you think, Seymour?
I was quite surprised. My son and his girlfriend thought it was, fantastic. I'm not taking anything away from him, don't get me wrong, but they both thought it was like one of the the best Disney animation movies that came out in a long time, and I finally broke down and saw it about 2 months ago, and I was quite impressed. The animation in it was really good. The songs in it were really good. The story behind it was really good. And I don't want to throw any spoilers out there for Marissa, but it had a nice little ending to it. Let's just leave it at that. To give it the 8+ rating that it had on IMDb, very, very fair. I would rate it a solid 8 myself.
Nice.
I liked it. Yeah, that's a fair rating. So we're not gonna go through all of these because there's 100 and something movies, so I'm gonna kind of skim through a lot of them. The next one is Star Wars The Last Jedi, got a 7.3. Black Panther 7.5, which I think is fair. Now this one, Joey, I know you talked about this, I still haven't got the chance to see it. A Wrinkle in Time got a 4.2. I saw recently, I got the movie pass. I talked about it on the show, and I think I saw that they're gonna do a small re-release to try to recoup some more money.
Yeah.
Avengers Infinity War got an 8.8. Well deserved. I loved that movie. Solo, a Star Wars story, got a 7.2.
That's interesting.
I liked it.
Pretty much. But is it as good as The Last Jedi, which got a 7.3?
I think. See, it's a whole different thing though. So, I wouldn't compare them because they're not in the same. It's a separate story.
Same universe.
Well, obviously it is, but it's not in the same line of movies that we have in the the other chaptered movies. It's its own thing, even though it's the same universe. So I wouldn't compare them.
Yeah, it's like a spin-off.
It's a good movie for what it is. The quality was great. I liked the acting. I liked the effects and the music and everything. The storyline was great. So I think it's fair.
It's interesting when you compare how much they made.
Yeah.
How much less Solo made, even though it's only 1/10 of a point less in the ratings.
Well, I think their downfall with that movie was that people already thought that it would be bad and didn't go see it. They're like, I'll skip it.
Yeah, I agree. I think people were upset with Last Jedi, and they used that as an excuse not to go see Solo.
Yeah. So, and I think that it was better than I expected. The next one is Incredibles 2, which got an 8.4.
Ooh, that's good.
Okay, now we're moving into movies that haven't been released yet. Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I really want to see.
And that's coming out this week, so that'll actually be out before this episode comes out. That comes out this weekend.
Yeah, it comes out a couple days before this show goes live. So I do want to see it. I may see it before we end up releasing the episode. I know I keep seeing the trailer in every movie I go see. It looks really good. What do you guys think about that?
I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Paul Rudd fan. I think he's really, really funny. I watched the whole Lost series, and Evangeline Lilly is like a fantastic actress. I went to the theater and finally saw Jurassic World last weekend, and I saw the preview for this, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I saw Jurassic World as well. So with the Movie Pass, I see pretty much every movie that comes out. It's really nice.
You can't beat it, man. $10 a month, and you get to go see,
every movie.
Everything. You go see one movie a month, and it pays for itself. No better deal out there.
So the rest of the movies coming out before this year is up is Christopher Robin, another one I really want to see.
Yeah, that one's slated for an August release, I believe.
Yeah, August 3rd.
Yeah.
The next one is The Nutcracker and the Four Realms, which is scheduled for November 2nd.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That looks great.
Ralph Breaks the Internet, Wreck-It Ralph 2, November 21st. Mary Poppins Returns on Christmas Day, which I really want to see. And I don't know. I'm going to go in this with an open mind and hoping that they put the heart into this like they did the original. I don't know, though.
Yeah, I'm nervous for this one.
Yeah, because some movies shouldn't be touched. Like, I think Willy Wonka shouldn't have been redone. There's some other films that shouldn't have been redone. And this is something that I'm kind of nervous about. But then again, we have a lot of these Disney movies that are being redone, and they're really good when they come out. So I don't know. This isn't really a redo. It's like a follow-up. Captain Marvel, which is still filming, that's scheduled for a March 8th, 2019 release. Now, if you guys have seen Avengers, that will be something that you'll want to see before seeing Captain Marvel.
Now, Captain Marvel is supposed to be a origin story. It takes place in the 90s.
Okay, then never mind.
But because it comes out just 2 months before, the Avengers 4. There's a lot of speculation that the end of Captain Marvel ties directly into the very beginning of Avengers 4, just like the end of Thor Ragnarok tied right into the beginning of Avengers 3.
Let's just admit that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty amazing these days.
Yeah, and with the Fox deal, it's going to probably get better.
Yeah, thank God. The next one for a March 29th release is Dumbo.
Have you guys seen the trailer for this?
That looks fantastic. The cast on that alone, and Tim Burton directing this, the drunken elephant scene alone, that's going to be worth the price of admission right there.
I'm ready for it. Yeah. And then, of course, a May 3rd release of the Avengers film. Definitely seeing that, obviously. Here's one that's kind of weird, and of course I'm going to go see it because I was a major fan of the original. And this is Aladdin, scheduled for a May 24th release. Mm-hmm. I wonder...
Yeah. Guy Ritchie directing, Will Smith playing the genie.
Oh, man.
I don't know how they're going to... I hope there's no miscast like Beauty and the Beast, because...
I hope it's rated R.
Aladdin.
Just go full on Logan with it, Just...
One jump ahead of the lawmen.
They did have like prostitutes in the original.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I just need to throw in a little Deadpool and we're all happy. They just need to break if the genie breaks the fourth wall, I'm going to be happy. I don't care what else they do in the movie.
You know that's happening. Toy Story 4 for a June 21st release, which I think will be just as great as the other three.
Prepare to cry.
Yeah. Here's where we crush your childhood and kill all the toys. Remember that furnace from number 3? It's actually happening this time.
Toy Story 4. This time it's personal.
Yeah. This one I'm weary about, but I'm pretty sure will be amazing and probably break a bunch of records. And that's The Lion King for a July 19th, 2019 release. Here's where some of them kind of get crazy because there's some that aren't really like announced, like out there, you know what I mean? And that's Artemis Fowl for an August 9th release of 2019. Frozen 2, November 27th, 2019. Yay.
Ugh.
Star Wars Episode 9 for December 20th release. Mulan for March 27, 2020. Here's one I can't wait for. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 1st, 2020. And that's around the time the ride's supposed to open, right? Or is it 2021?
Yeah, it's probably going to be closer to 2021, but I've already heard Jim Hill talking about how they're going to incorporate,
the movie and the ride
time into the schedule while they're filming this.
Yeah.
To film elements for the ride, like they did with the Mission Breakout.
Now, remember recently online, they were talking about not doing so many of the side, like the spin-off movies anymore, and then they're like, but maybe we will. Do you remember reading about that? Like after Solo came out, they're like, ooh, maybe we'll step away from that.
Yeah, you never can really trust what you read on the internet, but yeah, there's been chatter about them canceling all that. But then they almost immediately came out and announced what I'm assuming you're going to say next, which is the Boba Fett movie.
No. Well, that's coming up, so hold on a second. We have the Indiana Jones movie coming out July 10th, 2020.
Oh, yeah.
And right after that...
I heard that got postponed.
Yeah, this is all an IMDb list, and this is about a week old, so it might not have been updated on this list. The next one is an untitled Marvel project, rumored to be the Black Widow story for a July 31st, 2020 release. After that is another untitled Marvel project rumored to be Doctor Strange 2 for November 6, 2020. After that is an untitled Star Wars / Boba Fett project ?
I had heard, so if you're interested, cover your ears if you haven't seen Solo yet, but his name, Darth Maul, that there's like a Darth Maul trilogy concept where they're going to do, their Solo, and then Maul will have a role in a Boba Fett film, and then there'll be a Obi-Wan Kenobi movie where they redo the scene from Rebels or whatever the cartoon was where Obi-Wan Kenobi kills Darth Maul. But that sounds really cool. I don't know if they're going to do it, but it sounds like a great idea. But it'd be neat to kind of play out the Crimson Tide or Crimson Dawn or whatever the name of the crime organization that he was head of, and kind of play it out over like 3 films before they finally wrap that up. That'd be kind of neat to see.
So after that one, we have no more dates. It just says either pre-production, announced, filming, or whatever. This one is called Disenchanted, and it's probably a follow-up to Enchanted. That's in pre-production. The next one is Gigantic, which I thought they canceled, but I guess not.
According to Jim Hill, they did, but you never know.
Jim Hill also says a lot of stuff, and then it's kind of like they feed him rumors to see if he'll spill the beans, and then he does, and then they're like, LOL, that was never a real thing. Right. The next one is Jungle Cruise, which is being filmed at the moment.
They don't have a release date for that?
No.
I mean, it was like 2 years ago when he was tweeting out stuff. I mean...
Yeah, remember The Rock? He's like, just got out of a meeting. It's going to be so fun doing a Jungle Cruise movie and redoing the ride. And then they're like, Disney's like, shut up.
Yeah. I'm like, are they like trying to buy time so we'll forget that he said all that stuff? Because I would have thought that would have been out already.
He never tweeted that, sillies.
Yeah. He's like, wait, I got a skyscraper movie, and then I've got a monster movie.
The guy's never not acting. It's crazy.
I want to know what Josh Brolin is like. What does that guy eat for breakfast? Because he's got 3 movies out right now.
Yeah. The next one is another Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
No, really?
After that, and that one's announced, so yeah.
I think it should be about Red.
Oh God. Yeah, it's just like no more pirates. They're just her story, and that'll tie it into the attraction. Good times. The next one is a Peter Pan movie. Don't know if it's live action, animated, whatever, but it's in pre-production.
I did read earlier that it's going to be a live action remake.
Okay, another one, but okay. Jungle Book 2, which is just announced. Probably live action. Mm-hmm. Delilah Dirk and the Turkish Lieutenant.
All right, then.
The next one is Cruella, which I think could be really good if they do it right. That one's actually in pre-production. A Little Mermaid movie is announced. James and the Giant Peach is announced. They're like, instead of making new stuff, we should just redo all of the old stuff. The Sword and the Stone, it's announced. Oliver Twist, announced. Flight of the Navigator, Pinocchio, The Rocketeer, The Graveyard Book, Night on Bald Mountain, which is from Fantasia.
That one seems like it's got legs because I've always liked that Chernobog scene.
Yeah, and it's funny because when we were talking about unpopular opinions a couple months ago, and I said how I don't even care about Phantasmic, Peter and Holly were on the show, and they hated me for that because Peter was saying how Chernobog is like he loves him and that's the only place that features him and everything. So yeah. Who knows? That could be good. Scary movie for the kids. Prince Charming movie is announced. Don Quixote is in pre-production. Labyrinth is announced. Now this movie called The Magic Kingdom is a comedy, fantasy, sci-fi, and it's announced. And I think it's supposed to be an in-park themed movie. So I don't know how that would even go. And now this one we heard about a few years ago, actually, but they said that production was like halted and they had to redo the scripts and yada yada. But it's the Haunted Mansion movie. They're supposed to do like a good version of it.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro is supposed to be directing it, so yes. If that's true, then it's gonna be good regardless.
Yeah, someone like randomly interviewed him. They're like, "So what's up with the Haunted Mansion movie?" And he's like, "I'm making too many other things right now. That's on hold." That's just announced, so who knows?
Pacific Rim 3.
Oh God, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs live action.
Don't need it.
It's a Small World. How's that soundtrack gonna go? They're like, there's only one song on the album.
Oh, well, there is still a one of the two brothers alive to make new music.
Yeah.
Mr. Sherman.
Part 2. No. Captain Nemo is announced. Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is kind of random because that's from like the 80s and it's a thriller kind of movie. It's creepy. Chip and Dale movie, Alien Legion, Untitled Gargoyles Project. So there's that.
It's about time.
Yeah, just when we thought. Now here's another one, Tinkerbell. That's all it says is a comedy family fantasy. Maleficent 2 is filming. Rose Red, I don't even know what that's even about.
That's Briar Rose.
That's Snow White's sister, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Splash, because we needed a Splash remake. Tom Hanks, good times. Nottingham and Hood. Okay.
Because we need another Robin Hood movie. I mean, they're making another Robin Hood movie right now.
And here's how you know they're not going to touch the Tower of Terror, is they're making another movie of it. Probably a good one this time, because 90s movies. The Black Hole, which is a sci-fi movie, it's announced. And this one I'm really excited about, but I don't know if they're actually going to make it. And it's National Treasure 3. And they said that they're basically, what was it? They need to perfect it. And they're like kind of nervous that it's not good enough for what they had.
I hope they make that one.
I know, I love them. They're like surprisingly really good, the first two. Yeah. Oz, the Great and Powerful 2. The Flamingo Kid. Dr. Q. Miss Marple, Brooklyn Family Robinson.
Oh, that sounds like it's going to be a box office killer.
How about this one? Ground Control to Major Tom.
That sounds great.
Comedy romance from Touchstone. I'm just kidding. Phineas and Ferb movie.
Live action.
Genies. King of the Elves. Yeah. Electric Boy Genius. Straight to DVD. Ghostopolis. The Night Stalker. Dashing Through the Snow. If You Can See Me Now. I don't even know what half these are.
These are like, I think these are just random words that people were assembling.
Right.
Yeah. It's all part of like
just for the article. I'm looking these up on my IMDb app right now, and I don't see half of these that you're mentioning.
The One and Only Ivan. That's going to be a mega hit.
I think all the other Ivans are going to have a problem with that.
Right. How about this? Grandma's Intergalactic Bed and Breakfast.
Is that Grandma from Carousel of Progress?
With the left, you big lug. The Stuff of Legend. Okay. Bob the Musical. Castle Hangnail.
Seriously, they're just pulling words out of a dictionary at this point.
Yeah, it's like a name generator. Imagining Nathan, so better than Ivan, I guess. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Original.
In the Land of Imagined Things. Timmy Failure. Tribbyville. Happily Ever After. That's so original. Pool Rats. Untitled Charles Darwin Adventure Project. Okay. Let's talk about relatives.
As long as it's not like the John Cusack Poe film. Charles Darwin action adventure.
Untitled, and I don't even know if I'll butcher this pronunciation, but Kyriakides Project. Whatever that is.
Sure. Easy for you to say.
Untitled DJ Casey Connor Project. Whatever that means. Oh, this is descriptive. Untitled animated feature film. That's good. Goblins, Wild City, Hexam, Untitled Witchcraft Project, Paladin. There's only like a handful left. Beached, Time Zones, Opposite Day, Overnight. You're right, Joey. These are all like random things. The Pet.
It is. They went to like a word generator on the internet and just started like hitting the keys. You know what it's like? It's like the whole, if you had an unlimited number of monkeys typing on an unlimited number of keyboards.
Yeah.
This is like, these are the random words that formed and they just sort of pulled them out of the scribble. And
Father Figures, Light Speed, Wish List, Tiki, Hover Car, Floors. They're like, look around. What do you see? Well, there's some floors. Sounds like a good movie.
I love Lamp.
I love Lamp. This one's in pre-production. It's called The Waterman.
Is it the sequel to The Water Boy?
Oh, you know what? I don't know because it's Disney. So the next one is Overnight, The Hill, and then it's.
You already said Overnight.
What? Maybe. The names are.
Overnight was already on your list. I was like, what is this, like a movie
about
about a
you're
sleepover?
right. It says it twice. I don't know. And then there's one called The Runner. So there's that. That's the list. It's like they're good viable movies until like 85, and then they're like, crap. Disney's making a movie called Goblins or something. Put it on the list.
Yeah. It's the sequel to what was the Gargoyles? The
Gargoyles.
Which is also on the list. You know, if I was a betting man, I would put my money on Untitled Animated Feature.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee that's going to get made.
That one's got the best potential right now.
It'll do great. So
Marissa, are you having fun with this?
Oh yeah, I'm loving this. I think Night Stalker. That's an interesting choice of a title for a Disney movie. Doesn't really sound Disney.
Starring John Lasseter.
I was going to say, they might want to rethink that one now.
Your favorite producer.
The title to be redetermined.
Oh, God.
We're going to retitle it, My Boss, the Pervert.
Oh, shoot.
Coming to Disney DVD.
Ugh, gross. Anyway, so yeah, that's some movies, and we all like movies, even though the last 40 are fake, probably. They're like, quick, make a list. We have to make it look like we know stuff.
You mentioned the Graveyard book. I'm hoping that gets made. That's one of my favorite books, so I'm really hoping that happens.
Well, we have 4 years to find out if these are true or not. They did show that timeline.
We talked about last time about how with Star Wars and Disney and Pixar and Marvel and who knows what else. They can only put out so many movies because you put out a Disney animated film and a live action film and a Pixar movie and a Marvel movie and a Star Wars movie all at the same time. They start to cannibalize each other. So, you're not even getting into the territory of any one of these movies becomes a hit. Black Panther 2 is being fast tracked because the movie was like the fourth highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah.
So they're not going to sit around. I mean, it's like Deadpool, right? Deadpool comes out, makes all this money, and they instantly fast tracked a sequel. I mean, the movie came out, I want to say 2016, and there's already a sequel in theaters right now, right? And so Black Panther comes out, it's hugely successful, and so they're fast tracking a sequel. It's not even on. Was Black Panther 2 even on your list?
It was not. So this list is probably fake.
Well, on top of that, any one of these movies, if Wrinkle in Time had been successful, you guarantee, they would have been cranking out a sequel. If Mary Poppins is successful, there's gonna be a third one. If any one of these movies makes a profit, they're pretty much gonna be guaranteed a sequel. And so
I foresee them going through their entire back catalog, and if it's animated, it's gonna be live action.
The Aristocats, live action.
They already have a lot of them that came out in the 80s and 90s, like 101 Dalmatians and things like that. So, I mean, they're not failures whenever they do them. I think it's like a bit of the nostalgic factor with it's actually a really well-produced film that comes out usually. Like Beauty and the Beast did amazingly, even though Belle was miscast. But that's besides the point.
Yeah, and she didn't do a terrible job.
Hello, I'm French. Go away, Gaston. I'm from Great Britain. I mean France.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, as far as like you were just saying about the whole nostalgia factor. I mean, for me personally, my son is 22 years old, so we grew up with the original releases of Aladdin, of Beauty and the Beast, of Little Mermaid, and so to see these come back as live action films as opposed to just Disney just putting out another animated version of it or CGI version of it, it's kind of nice. It kind of takes you back, and it's it's the whole what is old is now new again type of deal. So I mean Rich, you see I've got a huge Ariel tattoo on my arm. Again, it's just something nice to to kind of bring it around full circle, so to speak, and for the parents who are now having younger children who watched the originals as animated features can now watch the animated features and the live action with their younger kids, and it still means something. So.
I mean, they're knocking it out of the park. It's not that often where Disney makes a flop. I mean, their bad day at the box office is still like an $80 million movie usually.
Right.
They're like, well, we did 800 million on this, but we only did 100 million on that. I'm like, only 100 million is a lot. So whatever, Disney, go buy another $70 billion company. You know what blows my mind? I was just talking about this the other day, is how Epcot in the 80s cost $3 billion, and they just bought Fox for $70 billion.
Yeah.
I'm like, build some more parks. Put that money into your parks. Stop building a 100 by 100 new Toy Story Land. All right, so where can we find you guys on social media, starting with Seymour?
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Seymour Spaz. I'm also on Twitter at Seymour Spaz. Not really on there all that much. I do go on there once in a while, and then I do the occasional live feed on Periscope, Facebook, and once in a while YouTube from the parks. For where I do random shows or just walking around the park, me being me, and you can find me on there at Seymour Spaz as well.
All right, awesome. Marissa, what about you?
I'm on Facebook at Marissa Mars, on Twitter and Instagram at the Marissa Mars, and I just recently started a Disney Instagram at rightwhereibelong_. So I'm excited to start posting on that more and posting some of the pictures that I have from Disney that I haven't really shared yet.
Yeah, I saw some of the recent photos that you posted from Magic Kingdom, and I'm like, man, I really want to go back. I haven't actually been to Magic Kingdom in so long, it feels like. I went once not too long ago for a little bit, and then before that was like February at the meetup, so I want to go. But it's only 40 million degrees there, so probably won't be for a while. Well, I wanted to say thanks to you guys for coming on the show, and hopefully you guys will be around for a long time, and I hope all of the listeners enjoyed you guys being on as well.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Now, with that being said, with all the talk about movies, let's all take a ride on the Great Movie Ride.
All right, we're here in the queue of the Great Movie Ride, and I'm here with Holly and my friend Stacy, and we're trying to get in the very last one. I don't know if we're going to be able to or not, but how do you feel right now?
A bit angry, to be honest. I'm trying to enjoy the fact it's my last one, but they let some NBA representatives in at the last minute, and we've been waiting for 6 hours, and I'm going to let Disney know that that's just not cool.
Yeah, it's actually been a complete nightmare as far as coordination goes and any planning. They kind of just let everyone in last minute. I know a lot of them were trying their best. They really could have had a better plan for all this, so we're going to hope for the best, and we'll be in there in a couple minutes.
I've said it's
All right, so I have a good feeling about this. What do you guys think? We're row 2 right now on the final ride, you think?
I don't think it's the final ride, but I'm going to enjoy it no matter what.
This is awesome. Actually, row 2, and it looks like the final ride, but I'm not sure. Ready? All right, guys, you excited? On the last one. What do you think? Holly, what do you think? Are you excited? I'm really pumped, actually. Probably the most pumped I've been for the Great Movie Ride.
Yes, I can't wait to do this.
All right, after a grueling 6-hour wait outside the Chinese Theater at Hollywood Studios, we're about to have our guide. He's actually full out sprinting to our car right now, and here we go.
Welcome aboard. At this time, I'd like to ask everyone to please remain seated throughout the show, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside. And don't forget to supervise your children. Also, for the safety of our cast, we ask that you please refrain from the use of flash photography or external video lighting. Now we've taken care of business, let's talk about me. My name is Taylor, and I will be your guide for this magical journey into the movies. It's the perfect job for me because I love movies. Is everybody ready? Ready because the cameras are ready to roll. Ready when you are, CB. Action!
All right, everyone push.
And we are rolling! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Great Movie Ride. Once again, my name is Taylor, and on behalf of Disney's Hollywood Studios and Turner Classic Movies, please welcome our host for this one-of-a-kind tour, Robert Osborne.
Thank you. Hooray for Hollywood indeed. What better way to start a journey From the Old West to the rooftops of London and along the yellow brick road, there really is no place like the movies. One of Hollywood's significant contributions to the world of film were great musicals. This scene is from one of my favorites, the 1933 Busby Berkeley spectacular Footlight Parade. Here's one of the most famous of all dance sequences. It's from the 1952 musical classic, Singing in the Rain.
Here's Gene Kelly singing in the rain. Literally.
Here's one of the quintessential Disney musicals, Mary Poppins, starring Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. This classic earned 13 Academy Award nominations.
Chim Chim Cheree, I love this song. Sing along. Hold on to those wallets and purses, folks. This doesn't look like a very good neighborhood.
Here's the birthplace of the gangster film, the seedy underbelly of Chicago from The Public Enemy, starring James Gagnon. Released in 1931 before strict censorship rules were enforced, The Public Enemy is a gritty, realistic, and violent look at the world of gangsters of the Depression era.
I love gangster movies. Sorry. He's got a point. I hate it when people talk during the movie.
Western films depict the legendary American wild frontier, where cowboys and their loyal steeds maintain order in towns against the untamable wilderness. John Wayne and Clint Eastwood are two of the iconic stars who epitomize this ideal of the stoic gunslinger.
The Duke and Clint made some of the greatest westerns of all time. Someone's robbing the bank. Not on my watch, Pilgrim. Sit tight, folks. I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated. Your guide will return momentarily. Remain seated.
Just in time for the party to get one. Hold it right there. Good job, Snipe!
Come on. You wouldn't shoot a guy in the back?
Oh, yeah? That's you, thanks, stranger. Time for the last roundup. Reach for the sky.
Woody's here!
You're under arrest. Got it! Woman!
Being assigned opposite to a companion stand.
Understood! Somebody's sticking my neck in a noose now!
You're in my good now, so hold on to your horses. Speaking of which, where are the horses? Time to saddle up and ride. Shit! Giddy up! Adios, Tin Horn. I'm riding off into the sunset. Whoa! Sun sure went down quick, didn't it? Don't no one try anything funny now, you just stay put. What in tarnation is this?
Science fiction has been a staple of classic movies, from George Méliès's Trip to the Moon to George Lucas's Star Wars. In 1979, director Ridley Scott and Sigourney Weaver made audiences believe that in space, no one can hear you scream. This is Alien.
Scream! I don't like the sound of that.
Warning. Remain in your vehicle. The area you are entering is extremely dangerous. Proceed with caution.
Homicide!
We're doing
The emergency
hell was that?
That's gotta be the ugliest looking horse I've ever seen.
It's wheeling up again! I wish my old partner Snake was here. Damn, burn it! I said snake, not snakes.
Steven Spielberg and George Lucas cemented their status as the blockbuster boys with their first partnership.
Hey, that's a nice
Here's
hat.
some legendary collaboration. Archaeologist Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes?
Some of the biggest
Get on,
stars of
doggy.
Hollywood have appeared in the ancient story of a cursed Egyptian temple. A priceless jewel that beckons to all, but be warned, the temptation always leads to destruction.
Whoa, looks like we hit the mother lode. I reckon it's time to stake my claim. Ain't nothing more than another ghost town. Takes a lot more than this to spook me. And don't none of you hombres move on fixing that treasure unless you want a belly full of lead.
I've seen enough movies to know that you really shouldn't even think about trying to steal that jewel.
All to unbeliever, disturb the treasure of the gods, and you shall all pay with your lives.
Not bad for my last movie, huh?
Anything can happen in the movies. Now, let's get on with the show.
Ooh, I see dead people.
Things that go bump in the night have always been a staple of movies. One of the first horror films was a silent short featuring a dancing skeleton created by the Lumiere brothers in 1897. Wow, it's really a jungle out there. Where are we?
This is the jungle home of one of the most famous movie characters of them all, Tarzan. The movie's most popular Tarzan is undoubtedly Johnny Weissmuller, who's run through 12 films as the King of the Jungle.
Over there we have Maureen O'Sullivan as Jane and Tarzan's sidekick, Cheetah, who is portrayed by over a dozen chimpanzee actors over the years. How about a nice round of applause for Jigs, Skippy, Harry, Zippy, Dinky, and all of the rest, an Oscar-worthy performance. You know, the jungle has always been the perfect setting for a great adventure movie. Think back to the opening of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where archaeologist Indiana Jones braves the thick to steal the golden idol. Or the spooky jungle where Arnold Schwarzenegger battles the Predator. Tarzan paved the way with his iconic 8 call, so Arnold could eventually yell, "Get to the chopper." I'm sorry, this is my last show. Let's all do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Get to the chopper!
Someday you'll understand that. He's looking at you, kid.
Here's Humphrey Bogart in his most famous film role. In 1942, Bogey finally got to spread his wings and romance the beautiful Ingrid Bergman in Casablanca.
Inside of us, we both know you belong to Victor. Time is work the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, for the rest of your life. You'll always have that. You didn't have me.
stars in one of his greatest roles, Mickey Mouse, the Sorcerer's Apprentice in Fantasia.
When the film came out in 1940, Walt Disney promised to add new musical sequences in the future. His nephew Roy kept that promise 60 years later with the release of Fantasia 2000.
We'd come over the rainbow and into one of the most beloved and most watched films in movie history, The Wizard of Oz.
Toto, I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Was it you?
No, it was an accident. I didn't mean to kill anybody.
Well, my little pretty, I can cause accidents too.
Oh, well, then you have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you, too.
Very well. I'll bide my time. But just try to stay out of my way. Just try. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
I wonder how we get out of here. What do you folks think? Which way do we go?
Follow the yellow brick road!
Follow the yellow brick road? Now, why didn't I think of that? Sing along, folks. You know the words.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick, follow the yellow brick road. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. He's a wizard, a wizard, the wise.
He does all the wonderful things he does. We're off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz.
From all of us here at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Turner Classic Movies, we hope you've enjoyed our tour through some of my favorite films. But remember, there are many more adventures waiting for you every day on TCM.
We didn't need dialogue. We had faces.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet. Step in time!
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner.
Is it safe?
I'm forgetting we're not in Kansas anymore.
I'm a man. Well, nobody's perfect. Shut up.
ultimate celebration of classic movies. And remember, you can find many more beloved stories and legendary stars on Turner Classic Movies.
On behalf of Disney's Hollywood Studios and Turner Classic Movies, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the great movie ride. Now, please remain seated until the vehicle comes to a complete stop. Please gather up all of your personal belongings and take small children by the hand. And when these doors open, rise dramatically to your feet and make a grand exit directly to the rear of the vehicle. Oh, and one more thing. When I yell action, don't forget the thunderous applause for yours truly. Okay, places everyone. And action! Thank you. And on behalf of all of us, we'll see you at the movies.
That's it for this episode. Thanks to Michael Pitcher for the show music. Music by the Disney Company, Tom Amin, and Down for the Count on YouTube, and other copyright holders. To find us on social media, search for One Little Spark Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. For show notes, pictures, and more, check out onelittlesparkpodcast.com. Thanks for listening this week, and just remember, tomorrow is just a dream away.